Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is Bomba right here on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Dolupo and I bid you a warm welcome to the bar today. Today promises to be a very interesting one. We're going to be talking about quite a number of things today. There's news from Lagos State. There's also news from the National Assembly. I bring you news from the House of Representatives. Very interesting news, by the way. More of like electoral news. There's also news, a lot of news coming from, or more like updates from the Senator Natasha Akpoti. Will I say suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti? Also, there's news from suspended governor. Why are there quite a lot of suspended people in Nigeria like this? Anyway, the suspended Governor Buraha in Rivers State also, there is a lot of conversation happening around that as well that we're going to be talking about. And there's also NYSC. There's updates from the 77K NYSC that was promised. Looks like the money is finally coming. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. Like I said, my name is Dolupo, and I bid you a warm welcome to the bar today. And with me at the bar is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the bar.
Okay, so we're getting right into today's show. But before we get there, I also wanted to put it out there that you could also put a call through to us if you want to make a comment on any of the conversations that we're going to be having today. You can make a phone call or put a message through on WhatsApp. Actually, it is 0819 or +234. Let me put it out. +234 916 163 7661. It is +234 916 163 7661. So that will be the number. Sit back and relax and enjoy today's show. So we're getting straight into today's show, like I had said earlier. First things first. Interesting news as Lagos is set to install 3,000 e-police cameras.
Interesting. One set of those cameras will be monitoring over speeding and traffic infractions, but of course, majorly like e-police cameras.
Okay, but really, honestly, let's be what really are e-police cameras and what it really do in the real sense, other than just speed limit?
Oh, well, there's definitely going to be a control center where these cameras are monitored. It will help monitor potential crime or black spots or red spots, depending on what they call it. And if something had gone wrong within that range, it could also help you call up data to look at evidence now to for sure say that, okay, you know what? This is what actually transpired in this place at that time, at this given time, because there's timestamps and all of that. So basically, some massive control center or data center where these things will be monitored. One of the biggest issues I've always had personally with people installing CCTV cameras or whatever name they want to call them is the lack of monitoring. So at times you just see that those cameras
so it
are
doesn't
there
solve anything,
and they answer with no problem. So this might just be something, because with the monitoring center, then that will be solved.
At least we know there's monitoring center for the one on 3rd Miller. I just wanted to put it out there. I know someone that has that is already owing 60,000 naira.
You know, so that's one of it. Again, I'm going to be very honest there. I'm kind of torn.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm torn is that we all want a society where things work. And everybody keeps going on about how things work abroad. You know, how you cannot park on the line without being fined or sanctioned. How there's certain things that you can't do in certain places in the world. How you cannot overspeed. You do this, you get a ticket. There's a breathalyzer test and everything. And when they start to domesticate those things in Nigeria, they start to bring it home.
Oh, we get angry.
Like, wait, why are they doing that?
We get angry, yeah.
Now, in some parts of Lagos, and the roads are good, those parts, they're talking speed limit of 60 kilometers per hour. If you're doing 60, I drive on those parts of Lagos. I know people do 100, 120.
I know people that are complaining about the speed limit on Third Mainland Bridge.
You know, so and the parts of Lagos where it's 80, you get. I didn't see any part where they say it's 100.
Yeah.
But if you're doing Lagos Ibadan, I think you can do 100 or Lagos Ibadan. But within the metropolis now, you know, the speed limit will be enforced.
But there's also the argument, like, take for example, the Third Mainland Bridge is an express road. It's not. You not expect people to be crossing the road.
So
and all those things.
based on feedback and issues and accidents and safety concerns, they have pegged the limit below 100, and there must be a reason for it. There must be something that has made the government come out to say this is what they're going to do, and that's even federal government. It's federal government that fixed that. But most of the Lagos roads, the Trunk B roads, have been pegged between 80 to 60 kilometers per hour. What they are trying to tell you is that they don't want you to overspeed. Now, it might sound far-fetched at the moment, and it doesn't concern you, but they already have cameras in places like Allen Junction. They have cameras in places.
They won't be in places like Allowance.
Like that, Allowance.
It's on even what's it called? Yeah, it's on this Bagada Express from Alakbar, all that place.
Yeah, not even Bagada Express. Don't let that go and mislead you. They've not
not Bagada Express. Sorry, the main Alakbar inward.
Just as you're going towards Ogudu.
Ogudu, yes. There are cameras in that place.
Been there for like 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, and they are already there. So you need, if you're driving in Lagos or you intend to drive in Lagos, to be extremely careful. Because what this means is that
it's a lot in Ikoyi and it's a lot in Alausa.
So what this means,
don't do it.
What this means is that in the past, where they would have traffic officers who would jump in front of your vehicle or bring some metal to stop your tires or puncture your tires if you refuse to stop, or some vehicle, it's just them taking you to the studio.
Just a text message.
They're taking you to the studio. You're posing in your fine car.
I just wanted to put it out there. You think that, okay, maybe it's just about maybe your car is tinted. Your plate number, that Nigerian map behind your plate number is literally what you can call like a QR code. It's actually not just Nigerian map. So those things actually take your plate number. They take the shiny part on your vehicle license that you put on your windscreen. Those things too are actually also captured as well. Those things also carry data as well. So people should just be careful, for the real sense of it. Please be careful and watch out for Lagos e-police cameras. That's all. Anyway, moving on from that, now let's go on to the NYSC, and this has been a conversation. I think this conversation really, really got heated when the core member that was posted in Lagos had not very savory things to speak about in Lagos. I have my reservations about what she said, or more like how it was said, not what she said, how it was said. I really do have my reservations, but a lot of people have come to realize that maybe the way my mind works, a lot of people would not agree, so we'll move on from it. However, it had come up to the fore that the 77,000 naira that they were promised when there was an increase in the minimum wage had not been paid, or they had not started paying that money. But there was, I think it started with 2 days ago, it was the minister, not before the minister, it was the DG of the NYSC that had announced that the 77,000 from this March, they will start getting paid 77,000 naira. 1. 2, he had now also announced, then the minister was also in an interview where the Minister of Youth and Social Development, if I'm correct, had said also that the 77,000 naira will now stay. He also confirmed it. He also now said that if there are some people that fall into that bracket that had already passed out, that there will also be a backlog that will be paid. I think they're supposed to have started in December, but he made a few explanations about how it was not really in the budget and it had to be put in the budget. There has to be a budgetary allocation for it, and all that. So basically, core members will start getting paid 77,000 naira. That's it.
Not only are they getting that, the best part is that they're getting some lump sum, which covers the backlog. And you just picture you already got 33,000 for like 2-3 months now. They now pay you the difference of that plus the current month's 77,000 or whatever.
But I also think some things are not fair.
You just go there, and be like flexing. You deserve it. It's your turn. It's your time. And of course, bearing in mind the way things are now more expensive than they used to be, you guys are lucky. And enjoy it.
Lucky is what I would say, because if it's backlog, they should be backlogging this thing to maybe like 10 years ago or like 15 years ago.
No, why don't they backlog it to 30 years ago?
If you have the money.
Since you want to be wasteful.
I'm not being wasteful. It's just that I got paid 19.8.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I got paid just 19.8.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's yeah?
Now you're stuck in the past now. You can't move on with your life, Abi.
I was a full core member, complete one. I completed my 1 year.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I even did a lot more than that. I served my country. If we count it, I probably did a lot more than most people did.
Yeah, you even broke the constitution in doing it. Well, that's broke 1 or 2 laws.
I didn't break any law. Okay. None. Not one, not any.
Okay.
I can say it with my full chest. Moving on. Anyway, shout out to core members. I'm not even sure I know any core member anymore. God. I feel so old. Because really and truly, there should be some core member that you can start that. Anyway, shout out to core members. Now, moving on from that, let's go to the National Assembly. And there's interesting news coming from National Assembly. First things first, I was going to this conversation. I think I will talk about the more serious stuff first. In the House of Representatives, a bill is very interesting that just passed second reading, and it really got my attention. And I know that even at the bar, we had spoken about it at least once or twice. And you might be wondering, what bill is this? There's a bill that is said to make the appeal court the final judge for governorship election disputes. And this bill has now passed the second reading in the House of Representatives.
One of the things that everybody would want is for improvements to happen all the time. Mm-hmm. We tend to get stuck in the system and say, oh, this is what they say. No, but we must always tweak and make sure things get better. Mm-hmm. And all the litigations that come with Nigerian elections, I'm sure they're unprecedented when you compare it to other parts of the world. Yeah. It's probably only Nigeria that has that culture of going straight to court after elections have been conducted. And it doesn't make any sense to have those cases drag. Then, if there's a change in government based on the courts, it leads to an off-cycle election eventually. Mm-hmm. And that has more or less staggered everything. In 1999, we all started the elections same day, same time. Now, there are about 5 or 6 or 7 states that, because of the court judgments,
they have different
dates for elections and everything. And these are the things that this judgment might reduce, not stop it per se. Again, it's also not fair that you've been in government for a few months and you get kicked out. Let them kick you out like quick, or you don't even get to be there in the first place
at all. Yeah.
So it's good that it's getting this attention that it deserves.
Okay, so now about the bill itself, what do you think?
That's it now. It's a good thing now. Anything that keeps moving us towards a better electoral system. The ultimate goal for me would be that we don't have litigations and all these court cases after
funny enough
elections.
I even think that I prefer these litigations. And why do I say so is because it kind of has now become a thing and puts a stamp on everything, and whatever conversation you want to have, once there is what we know, the Supreme Court judgment, it puts everything to bed. There is no maybe he could have won, maybe he couldn't have won, maybe all that drama stops and it ends, and we move on to the next thing. I think that it helps. It gives a lot of people closure. So
I'm sure you're talking like someone that is not in Nigeria. Some people went to court, and they are still claiming they won, even after the Supreme Court had made pronouncements. So it doesn't stop it, Dolupo. It doesn't. This is a fact. There are people who are still claiming they won an election.
Yeah, I know that. You can claim, but it's not like as
you
if
said
there
it
is
stops all that drama.
And why
I'm
I say
it
that it kind of stops it is
for
because there is no...
not for the players in the field.
Okay, because it's almost like there is no ambiguity in this matter again. You don't go... There's no court you are going to anymore. There's nothing. And then it probably gives the person in power, or the person that was sacked and the person in power at the end of all the court cases, some level of stamp, like there's nothing else coming, and maybe helps them focus. I don't know.
The person in power has that from the day he's pronounced winner also. It's just that there are people who would still go to court. And the court, these days, people don't even feel like it's guaranteed.
But I think that you can't compare
I'm talking about us getting elections that are properly organized in a point where there's no need for litigation or courts.
I don't think that that's going to happen. Why I don't think so is because, not because I don't think we'll have proper elections. I think that, I don't know if it happens I think that it actually happens also outside Nigeria, where even with results, glaring results, people will say that they did not lose elections. We saw when Donald Trump lost the election, the tantrums that he literally threw, and he was glaring that.
Then who went to court?
No, I'm not saying he went to court. I'm just saying that even when we see in Senate claims, people that is glaring that they lost an election will still come out to throw tantrums.
The tantrums are welcome. That's not what I was referring to, or that's not what I'm talking about. The tantrums are welcome. People must react one way or the other. It's not everybody that would quickly concede an election and, congratulate the person who has been declared the winner. What I'm talking about is that we get to a point where we organize elections and it is clear as day. It is clear as June 12 that Abiola won because everybody saw it. The system was open. We all knew. As against a system where no matter what you do, this secret ballot system will always have people having doubts. But I hope we get to a point where we can organize elections where these doubts are all cleared.
Anyway, so...
That's what I'm saying.
I get your point. So, now, I think that it makes sense. The fact that these court cases, actually the governorship court cases, stop at the appeal court, it reduces the amount of time that you're in court for. You know that once there's the high court, you go to the tribunal, from the tribunal, go straight to the appeal court, and whatever happens at the appeal court, and that's where it ends. I think that
less money for lawyers. A lot of lawyers will not like this because lawyer season happens after every election. It's a fact. If it goes to court, is it going for free? Is that not why is your lawyer? Now there's no Supreme Court anymore, so they won't be happy.
Take for example now, there are high courts, states and federal high courts all around the country. Even though there are no appeal courts, it's not in every appeal court is what we call regional, yeah? We have regional appeal courts. They're not in every state. However, there are quite a number of them. There's only one Supreme Court. So everybody comes all the way and goes to that one Supreme Court. I think that the Supreme Court is bombarded. The Supreme Court is choked up. So if we can reduce the amount of cases that are going to the Supreme Court, I think it's a win-win for everybody at this point. Anyway, maybe not for lawyers, but, well, anything happens. Now, let's move on from that and let's go all the way to the Senate. And this is not just about what's happening in Senate at the moment. It's about the suspended Senator Natasha, and a lot of things that have been happening. Last week, we saw her go on what you call a media tour. around media houses, about around foreign media houses. What was the point of it? That's another conversation. However, there's been quite a number of things that has happened after that. After that, we saw there was a phenomenon that had never happened before. I think that it was rumored at a point. I don't want to call it rumored, but it never really happened. And it's this same Kogi state as well, where it was a former senator as well that wanted to be recalled, but it didn't go through. However,
the senator wanted to be recalled.
He was going to be recalled.
Okay.
That matter didn't go through then. However, looks like it's not the same at the moment, as the constituents in Senator Natasha Akpoti's constituency have now filed a petition. They had filed a petition. The High Court had granted it for her to be recalled. I'd seen interviews of people talking about how they don't want her anymore. I saw pictures and videos of signing some level of form of register, and looks like it's a serious thing. However, her lawyer has now come out to say that this recall is being sponsored by the Kogi government.
It's politics. It's politics. Everything is sponsored by somebody. The truth is, if they're doing it by the book, there's not much you can do. The allegations by Natasha Akpoti's lawyer is that the lady that's been the face and the voice of this movement to remove her from the Senate by recalling her is said to be appointed or employed by the Kogi state government. Okay. And if that is true, so it is the voice of Esau and the hand of Jacob, or the other way around, whatever way it is. It's basically saying the state government has a hand in it. And again, remember, she's PDP. The state is governed by APC. The senator that was removed there is APC. And there are now rumors and allegations that the former governor, the immediate past governor, has his eyes set on that same senatorial seat. If there's a recall, that he would be in contention to contest in a runoff elections for that seat. That is the rumor that some people have been carrying about.
Interesting. That's a very interesting angle to it.
Yeah. So when people are saying that, you start to wonder, like, oh, is it right or wrong? But in some instances, what does the law say about it? Is it being done? Like Dolupo pointed out, finally the courts are saying, go ahead. Initially, they were like, nah, you can do this. But the courts are saying, go ahead. Now, the story started last week, and people were saying, oh, no, they were tricking members of the constituency to come out for palliatives, and then they made them sign stuff that they didn't know about. But the people actually came out the next day to say, nope, we want our recalled, and it's been louder than I expected. Now, as a smart move, she's countered it. Someone tweeted something. One of these popular bloggers tweeted something sarcastically or jokingly, but it says rice can fix every problem in Nigeria. And of course, our response now is that she's also giving out branded bags of rice, to our constituents, as I don't know, maybe as a bribe or a palliative system, well, she's still kind of holding the Senate. So maybe it's one of the constituency development projects they're giving out rice. She's giving out rice. So it's a back and forth thing. And as it stands, maybe, just maybe, they might be the first senator to be recalled. However, the way the thing is structured constitutionally, it is almost impossible to do.
I think it's a difficult process. We can't say it's not possible, but it's difficult.
I said it's almost impossible. And I stand by that. There are too many hoops that you need to jump through.
And I think it was done purposely.
And how they want to pull it off and do it without breaking the law remains to be seen. So Natasha Akpoti might not be recalled, but she might not have a smooth time in the Senate and outside the Senate.
It's not looking like it.
You know, and these are the burning issues that as updates to this issue that she's had with the Senate president and the entire Senate. It's still staying with her. She's also written a petition now, against the chairman of the ethics committee in the Senate. Now, by law, the chairman is usually chosen from the opposition.
Yeah.
So the chairman of the particular committee, I think he's from Labour Party.
He's the Labour Party senator.
And she's alleging that it was disbarred for unruly behavior or bad behavior in the US. And
so she wants him disbarred now in Nigeria.
There's no way he should be practicing in Nigeria. This is what our
But my question is that whether he's disbarred or not, is it a requirement for him to be a senator?
No, I don't think he went into the Senate to represent the NBA or to represent any legal entity. He went as a representative of his people. And I think the minimum requirement to be a senator is not a legal degree, a law degree. So it might not affect him, except there is a part of the Constitution that says that if you're disbarred, you have to be removed from the Senate. I doubt if that exists. It might affect his re-election opportunities or chances. But again, I get where she's coming from. If we're going to be looking at this thing with an open mind, you must come to equity with clean hands.
Okay, so is it now, my issue with this whole thing is it about their character or is it about their person? These people's individual persons or the issues? And I think that is my issue with this whole allegations. This whole allegation started with move your seats, don't move your seats. Then the Senate said, oh, you did not do things properly. And we all saw videos of her yelling and doing all sorts of things. And then it now became sort of like character assassination on the Senate president. It moved from, oh, he didn't inform me that my seat was going to be removed, to he sexually harassed me. Now, from there, we are moving on to, oh, the ethics committee chairman has an issue in the US. So is it about their person or the crux of the matter in itself?
I don't know what you're driving at, but this is politics. This is politics. As it stands, the people in the Senate, supporters of the Senate president, have also said things about Natasha Akpoti's life and lifestyle.
Yeah, and I don't think it makes all... that's the thing.
It's politics. It's politics. You remember there's this joke about how if you don't want to find out who your great-grandmother's first boyfriend was, don't enter politics. Once you get... You throw your heart into that
because
ring,
my issue at the end of the
they're
day
going to dig out all sorts of things about you.
Everybody now keeps going
as
on.
we speak. There's an 11-minute audio recording of a woman who is maybe alleged to be a current husband's former boyfriend or close friend and girlfriend or close friend talking to a current husband's wife's father, who happens to be close to her current husband. And it's a very revealing audio. And this happened about 4 or 5, just before she got married to this person now that she lives with as husband. Her husband. It's a very revealing audio, very believable. And that also speaks to character, a whole lot of stuff. So, all is fear in love and war is what they say. But this is love, war, and politics, and it's terrible and dangerous.
It is.
And what they're saying, in essence, is that if the person who is in charge of ethics, who is trying to say someone is bad, is also bad, then the person does not deserve to be chairman of ethics committee. And that's what she's trying to do. It's a smart move.
So everybody is attacking everybody now.
Politically, it's a smart move. And politically, it could be a dumb move if it does not work, if it backfires. But it's all politics at the end of the day. The way they are trying to recall her is all politics. They might not even want to recall her. They might just want to let her know that, look, you think you're safe, but you're not.
Anyway, still, before we leave the matter, Justice Igwatu, who has now been the judge on this matter, where the one that she took to the court, has now recused herself of the case, as the lawyer of the Senate president had accused her of being biased.
Well, the smart thing to do for the judge is what she's done, and the case has been taken back to the
chief judge,
who will reassign it. And I think what this person has done is commendable. Like, look, you say you don't trust me, you feel you won't get justice, so let him take it to someone else. But again, over and over again, you just see a lot of these cases now where judges have to recuse themselves because of this allegation or that allegation. And I'm looking at, is this like a new strategy that lawyers want to deploy?
Probably is to just waste time. Anyway, before we leave the National Assembly, we're going back to the House of Representatives, where, remember the bill that I said? So now 39 of those constitutional amendment bills have now scaled the second reading in the House of Representatives. I'm going to call a few out, and they're very interesting bills, and I think we need to talk about some of them. Take, for example, an act to alter the Constitution to provide the establishment of state police and local government police. Interesting. A bill, the one that I talked about earlier, there's also... a bill to provide that general elections of the office of the president, state governors, national assembly, state houses of assembly, and local government area councils should all be conducted simultaneously on the same date, determined by the INEC and the National Assembly.
I've been pushing for local government elections to come on the same day, which basically means now that their tenures will not be 3 years anymore, it becomes 4 years, which also means that the elections, hopefully, if they expand it, would mean the end of state electoral commissions. There's completely nothing independent about those guys. And,
they probably will be absorbed as INEC staff, but they're not, or maybe ad hoc staff when it's time for elections. However, the one I talked about earlier about the appeal court being the final court for the governorship, the houses of assembly, and the state's house of assembly as well. Those issues are there. They're also the one to alter the provisions of constitution to establish an FCT house of assembly.
Look, just Kuku turn FCT into a state, and just hand all these.
I think so too. Also, the constitution said to permit public servants to engage in healthcare, education, production, and services, basically businesses other than farming.
You're going to have a state assembly in the FCT with the president in charge, president of Nigeria, who by constitution will now appoint a minister. So it feels strange to me. Maybe my knowledge of politics and governance is not deep enough, but it feels strange that you have local government chairman elected in the FCT, Abuja. You now have House of Assembly members elected in the FCT, but the person supervising all of them is appointed.
It's very interesting, Sha. I agree with you. It sounds funny. Anyway, now also that there are quite a number of things as well, that there's laws to establish and empower political parties registration and regulatory commission to register, regulate, and monitor the organization and operation of political parties. So there's going to be a commission that is supposed to look through. I think it's unnecessary. Anyway, they alter the provisions of to vest INEC with the power to conduct local government area council elections.
That one I will pop champagne to, because we need a functional local government system, and the bulk of our local governments will not function because they are all selected by the governors.
as well. Also, another very interesting one is that a bill to require an official resignation from a political party before defection of members of the National and State House of Assembly.
A letter from who now?
No, what they're saying is that you should have officially moved or resigned from your party before you come to the National Assembly to announce that you are moving to another party.
What difference does it make, actually? Really not much difference.
Also, they're also talking about maybe a constitutional amendment to establish the National Local Government Electoral Commission as an independent body responsible for organizing, conducting, supervising, and electing offices of chairman. Now, my question is, isn't this contradictory? Because
that one will be solely for local government elections.
No, what I mean
Nigeria.
is, if okay, so there are three bills that I feel that are a little contradicting. Why I said two is one, if okay, maybe and one is not contradicting, talking about how removing local government elections from states, yeah,
it's not
makes sense. However, you're looking at a bill that is going to cause every single election to be done on the same day, and then it will mean that INEC is the one doing all the elections. And if INEC is doing all the,
do their own too.
If INEC is doing all the elections straight, what is there really a need for a local government electoral commission anymore?
There's no need for a local government.
That's what I'm saying, but it's one of the bills that
if they pass it, they will both function on the same day, and it is going to be waste. All they need on that ballot paper, on that ballot that day, once there's a ballot paper for president, there's one for, they can just do federal and state elections on 2 different days, or the same, or everything.
I even think that maybe they will leave it the way it is, but with the state elections, there's 2 weeks after, add the local government elections.
The reason why in detail why they might be looking at separating the job is that we're only looking at it from the angle of the chairman. We're not looking at the angle that the councillors are also legislators at the local government level, and there are quite a few of them. They're plenty small. Do you understand? So if you're looking at 774 local governments, that's if they don't create any new local governments before the next election. You're looking at 774, not 37 of governors now. Then under those local governments, some of them have as many as 14 or 12 councillors. So, and each post can be contested for by as many as 10 to 20 parties. So it's actually a lot of work if we look at it.
It's a lot of collating as well.
It's a lot. The local government elections being added to this changes the whole dynamics. Maybe that's the angle that this is coming from.
Maybe I would even look at it from the angle of, instead of giving 2 weeks in between, maybe give it, or would I say, it could even be 2 weeks in between, or give it another date, another, maybe from presidential to governorship, then to local government elections. But everything is done in the same cycle. Maybe like the peak, the month of March. The month of March is all the elections we're doing. Maybe the first week of March, there is election for presidential. 2 weeks after, there's governorship. And then the week after, there's local government elections. And then we move on. Because what you said now, it could really be bulky. That's a lot happening in one day. We see the presidential and the House of Assembly elections, how it takes days.
Yeah, again, if you look at the structure of the Senate or the House of Reps, where in the Senate there are only 3 senators in one state, and what that means is that the state is just shared along 3 lines and say, okay, there are 3 senators, and it cuts across local governments. For House of Rep, it's even smaller. You are now going to have a more compact one when it comes to the local government, because within the local government there are wards,
the council, the wards,
there are wards, and that's a lot. That's a whole lot. So how many polling units are you talking about? And that means a lot more.
Yeah, I think that it should be in the same cycle, but maybe not the same day. Anyway, let's move on from that. Let's go to the gist in Rivers State, where Organized labor have now condemned the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State and said that they may be forced to take decisive action. The Rivers State chairperson of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the state chairperson of the TUC and the chairperson of the Joint Negotiation Council has now said that they might actually have some serious actions taken if it is not reversed.
You know, it's funny how I'm going to be sounding like a broken record a lot at the bar. This is politics. This is not labor.
I was going to say to that.
This is pure politics. And it's funny how
it's the money of the workers.
They already showed their hands now. You know, they're talking about people not being paid and blah, blah, blah because of the allocations that were supposed to have been withheld, which has already been released.
That's been released. So what's the story?
But it's still on their list of agitations. It's fine. This is them showing their hands and saying, but I like to ask people who are taking this stance, where were you guys when every other thing that was being done was unconstitutional by the governor, the suspended governor, and nobody was saying nothing?
Because I'm sure that the salaries of people that were withheld are also workers.
Nobody was saying nothing about it. Like, nobody's talking about buildings being demolished without needing to. Mm-hmm. You know, a whole lot of things. You get it just, and you know the funny thing, nobody's talking about those pipelines that were vandalized.
Nobody's talking about it.
Those things were bombed. We were about to go back to the wild south. Nobody's talking about that. For me, I still feel that it shouldn't. I feel that maybe Fubara shouldn't have been suspended, but that, of course, there had to be some drastic action to nip this madness in the bud.
Honestly,
because
whatever was going on in Rivers was madness.
If they had continued with the pipeline, look, you saw all the guys who were already making videos threatening to bring down hell and brimstone and everything and all of that, you get. Because to them, they don't see it from any other thing other than from the tribal angle, that this person is for a certain part of the state and the person that it seems to be at loggerheads with is from a certain part of the state.
Anyway, we definitely will follow whatever is going on in River State. I think the suspended governor had spoken yesterday or 2 days ago, saying that he did not know anything about anything and all that. Interesting news coming from there. Anyway, moving on from that, quickly, President Tinubu had flagged off construction of access road to the Second Niger Bridge.
It's a fantastic thing, you know, that following up on the bridge that President Buhari had built, the Second Niger Bridge, the access roads are now going to be constructed, which will enhance the free flow of traffic, especially, you know, farm produce and, you know, people from one end to the other. And talking about people crossing from Delta State into the eastern part of Nigeria and back. Okay. This is a very, very good thing. And also looking at all the other link roads that are being built, the Asaba Road is going to be reconstructed and expanded. And, you know, the Calabar Coastal Road is also not far away. You know, this looks like an enhanced road network system that is being put in place.
Interesting. Anyway, interesting news coming from the presidency. As the presidency has now basically slammed the Labour Party presidential candidate for his statements where he made saying that democracy is gone in Nigeria, basically, that is eroded. And this is just not about the presidency. I've seen quite a number of people where the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi had referenced how there was a lot of democracy that was being portrayed when former President Obasanjo was in government. And apparently, a lot of people had a lot of things to say about the administration of Obasanjo, about how governors were being removed anyhow, state governors, how Senate presidents were being taken out. In fact, someone had referenced how an AURTW chairman was the one that presided over the impeachment of a governor.
Oh, the videos are out there.
So
the impeachment of Ladoja in Oyo State.
So there were quite a number of people that had a lot of things to say about Peter Obi's statements. So is it that people just... would we say Mr. Peter Obi is correct, or he just wanted his place at the gallery?
There's facts and there's politics, and at times they mix. In this case, the facts are out there. It was under the same Obasanjo that Peter Obi was praising that he was impeached.
And he's saying that the president was one that helped him get back to...
The president that was in the PDP, he was in APGA. And the person that was against him is also in the president's party. Do you understand? But it's all right. What I'm saying, in essence, is that if you've been following politics in Nigeria since 1999 when this dispensation started, you will know that some of those things, they're not exactly the way they happened. That's not how it happened. And I actually think democracy has improved in Nigeria. Now, this state of emergency was actually ratified by the House of Assembly, the lower and the upper house. Of course, former President Obasanjo has something to say about that. He talked about bribes and allegations of bribes being paid, and people started hitting him with his failed third-term agenda and how he wanted to perpetuate it. And at the same, Obasanjo wanted to impeach his vice at one point in time. The facts are there. These are facts. You don't need to agree with me. Just look it up. Same guy. And if you say that this current democracy that has a stable system in place, apart from a senator that was removed by the courts to allow Natasha gain a rightful place as a senator, you've not heard of any court removing anybody as against before. And again, it was not that Obasanjo now, this same period that Peter Obi was referring to, that Michael Jackson and Michael Tyson voted in Nigeria. That doesn't happen anymore. I think that's an improvement. So if we're going to look at things, let's put sentiment aside and look at facts. We're at a point where you don't need to agree with what you hear. Just look it up. If it's wrong, point it out. But you can't sit down there because you want to rule Nigeria and make those damning statements that are not fact-based. Do you understand? Is our democracy perfect? No, it's not. But I actually believe that it has improved. You don't have to agree with me, please. Let's hear your own views. It's fine. But has democracy gone back or is dead, like some people are insinuating, for political reasons? No.
Okay, now moving on from that quickly, Nigerian Customs has seized 125 million naira worth of smuggled petrol in Kebbi State. Good work to them. Good work. They definitely have been doing a lot of work on that angle. Finally, before we go, let's do a bit of sports quickly. Before we go, first things first, the Akwa Ibom government has now paid for tickets for everybody to come and watch the Super Eagles and Zimbabwe game. I think that game is starting
in a few minutes.
A few minutes time, literally. It's starting at 4 p.m. West African time. Apparently, I think the Akwa Ibom people maybe they're not as predisposed to football.
Nigeria played Rwanda Friday last week in Kigali, the Amahoro Stadium, for the something thousand seater, and it was packed to the rafters. People paid through their noses to go watch Nigeria's team. Of course, the bulk of them were Rwandans. And now you're playing Zimbabwe in a crucial World Cup qualifier. And our people are not buying tickets. We have become spoiled. Let me tell you, it's been this. has been happening in that particular place for a while.
So maybe they're not. I was talking to someone this morning, and I'm like, imagine if this was in Lagos. You probably wouldn't. At this point, you probably won't even be able to pass. Maybe if it was, maybe at the National Stadium.
We don't need your free tickets. If it was Lagos, it's the same problem they have in Abuja. People would say, "Yeah, that stadium is far." When I went to Abuja Stadium, I'm like, "This place that they say is far, it's not far now. There are houses everywhere. There's transportation and everything."
So maybe it's the area.
It's just people and them not really being into it. That's the way I say it. If that game was being played in Lagos, if it was Lagos, if it was Kano,
even if it was Ibadan,
well, sorry, go.
Nah, I think that maybe
whatever it is, please, if you can hear us or you're watching us, you're in Akwa Ibom and you're close to the stadium, go there. Free ticket, free jerseys for the first 500. Please be safe. Don't push, don't rush, don't shove. Just, in a very organized manner, make your way into the stadium and enjoy, because I have a good feeling about this game.
Okay, I'm talking about games. Looks like South Africa is in the race for points deduction. Now, the NFF, the Nigerian Football Federation, had reported South Africa for fielding an ineligible player. They said that their last game that they played with Lesotho, where they won 2-0, there was a player that had 2 yellow cards that was not supposed to play in that game, and the person played.
Yeah, Teboho, and is actually an integral part of the team. He plays in the midfield. Top player for South Africa. Got a card against Benin Republic, and that was match day 1. Then got another card, I think match day 4 or thereabout, and that basically shouldn't have played the next game, which was match day 5, and he did, and he played for 81 minutes. So the fact that he even played at all, or he was listed, he wasn't even supposed to be on their team sheet. So we're waiting on FIFA to act. This is a good one. It benefits not just Nigeria or Benin Republic. It benefits
everybody.
And Rwanda and everybody, because Nigeria is still on 6 points. Hopefully at the end of today, we'll be on 9 points. Fingers crossed. And no matter what happens between South Africa and Benin Republic, they get docked at least 3 points and 3 goals, or 3 points, and lose the number of goals that they scored against Lesotho in the game. By now, the Lesotho Football Federation should have picked it up by now. Like, you know what? There's actually something worth
makes sense.
complaining about here.
So, interesting.
And they've done it to us in the past. Like they did in Nigeria a couple of years ago, 2018 or thereabout.
Interesting how things are evolving now, and looks like things are not going to just pass
anymore. Yeah. And again, the South African Football Association is going through some tough times, finding how to even pay salaries and all of that. So maybe the person they would have paid the salary would have cut that thing and say, Teboho, you cannot play.
Anyway, finally, before we go, Chelsea FC has now celebrated the Nigerian fashion designer who infused Igbo cultural attire into the classic Chelsea kits. Yeah,
I've seen those things, and I think they are beautiful. I think they're nice, and I think it's good that Nigerian fashion designers, especially the Igbo culture, is being celebrated on a global stage.
I think it's actually a very, very beautiful thing. Anyway, on that note, that is all we have to take today on the Boomba. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Well, to go watch Nigeria, Zimbabwe. Fingers crossed. Literal fingers crossed. I actually think that the boys, not just that they're good, I think that they too really, really want. It looks like they're very hungry for it. So we'll see. Definitely come back tomorrow to give you the good news.
Shout out to our man Cornelius is out there.
Is
you now.
Alrighty. So have a beautiful, beautiful week. Tomorrow we are here tomorrow. Sorry.